You and I both worked on the Defend the Guard. It was a project that I took very personal, being a retired Montana Army National Guard soldier. I was in that aviation unit that you were talking about, and great organization, great group of people there. But passing that is just one step, one tool that the states can use at that level in order to curtail the executive branch in Congress in Washington. Just get a little backgrounder for people that might not know. The Defend the Guard bill would essentially prevent the governor from allowing the National Guard soldiers to being called up on Title 10 orders for combat operations. So they would still be able to do border missions. They would still be able to do the state firefighting mission, because that's a different title section. They could still do many of the things that they already do. They can augment active duty still, stateside. It just prevents that into actual combat operations. And again, it would just put that extra check because, during during the GWAT, I think it was like 60% of the soldiers that were going into Iraq and Afghanistan were National Guard soldiers. And it was just this constant rotation through the states. I personally know guys who've been over there like 6, 7 times. I was in Afghanistan in 2012, and then in 2019, I was getting ready to go back to Iraq. And it's just, again, it's a tool. It's gaining momentum. It's been proposed in many other states, and it keeps getting further and further each time. So I think that it's catching on, and people are seeing the value of it. Since Congress is unwilling to actually declare war, and they just go along with the executive war powers and AUMFs and all that kind of stuff, it's a way for the people at the local level to have that check on that power. And going back to what you were talking about earlier too, on how I guess the Overton windows kind of shifted on back after 9/11. People were gung-ho. I know I was. And then, of course, as the fog of war time sheds light on the truth, everything that we were told, Colin Powell talking about there's weapons of mass destruction. I mean, initially, we were told that it was the Taliban that did the 9/11 and we had to go into Afghanistan, quickly shifted into Iraq, which there was no proof, evidence whatsoever that Saddam Hussein had anything to do with 9/11. And I think that with media today, the mainstream media doesn't have the same control over us. So with, I guess, the dissident media, I don't know how we want to, but
like right now,
right, right now. There's a lot more truth that gets out there. They're not controlled by big corporations or the CIA psyops. They do spend a lot of money on psyoping us into whatever it is, whether it's war or COVID or whatnot. And I think people are starting to finally realize what they do to us. And, fear is the ultimate control tool. And that's, of course, always the one that they push hardest against, because once people are afraid, then they'll go along and do kind of whatever they're told. So, but, the hope is that people are starting to realize this Iran war is wildly unpopular. I mean, it's completely fractured the MAGA base. Trump has kind of destroyed his legacy. He ran hard on no new wars.
No new wars, Epstein list.
Yeah, all these things, immigration, and, he's backtracking on all of them. Congress is a complete feckless bunch that just...
Yeah, there's supposed to be 3 branches.
Right.
And Congress has really just surrendered so much of its power to the executive branch. We need to send strong congressmen up there. And I also think it's important to be good on your feet in real time when things are scary.
Sure.
So having principles of why we don't do this to hold you steady when they are really pumping out the, it's for the children, or there's a terrorist threat, or we have like, why is this a no for me?
Right.